The Kinsey scale is a scale that was developed by Alfred Kinsey and his team in 1948 when they published Sexual Behavior in the Human Male. And it goes from 0 to 6. And it's not really a tested scale in the way we think of today in research. You can't take a test to see where you fall on the scale. It's just kind of a way that you can self-categorize yourself based on your tendency or how you define your sexuality, your sexual orientation. So 0 would be exclusively heterosexual, never even considered having any thoughts or doing anything with someone of the same sex. And 6 would be the opposite of that, exclusively homosexual.
I think that it's important to know who you are, and you need to not necessarily label it, but you need to know who you are and accept it, and just live with it, because you have to be at peace with yourself. Mm-hmm. So whether you have to qualify it or quantify it, to the world is not important. It's how you see yourself, how you accept it, and how you live your life, really. That's the most important.
His thoughts on this were pretty modern, in that he didn't believe that people necessarily fit into little numbers. And so it's ironic that he has the numbers, because that number wouldn't necessarily be a number that would represent you all through your life. But perhaps when you were young, before you reached puberty, or at some point in your life you were only with people of the same sex, and so that was your experience. And later in life you had other thoughts and feelings, and it was also in some ways kind of a measure of its time. But one thing that's very kind of unusual about it, considering that it was done in the 40s and 50s, is that Kinsey believed that there was a continuum, and that people aren't just gay or straight, and that's it. I don't think that's a concept that many of us today really understand.
I think it is, because I think I think people just change. I mean, it's the same with anything else. People change as time goes on, so I think anyone can fall anywhere on the scale at any given time.
Yeah, I feel like people might change throughout, like people might be bisexual when they're in college or something, or experimental, and then become more conservative or 6 when they're older.
Personally, where do I think I fall in there? I would say, well, 1, I don't find any sexual desire towards men, but I don't know. I guess it could maybe go from 1, the fact that maybe I appreciate the male body. When I see other dudes out with their shirts off, it's I'm not looking at them sexually, but I look at him oh, well, he's pretty cut, he's pretty ripped or whatever. But looking at him in lust or anything, no. I would say definitely 1 in that sense.
Everybody has a little bit of everything in them, and I mean, you can love people if you tend to have sexual attraction towards the same sex. That doesn't mean you don't love someone who's another sex. You can have great relationships. There are people who are completely bisexual and will say that's who I am. And who am I to say that doesn't fit?